Yo, what's up, family? Before we start the video, please leave a like, subscribe, and share to any and everyone that you can, just so we can get out there a little bit more. With that being said, let's get right into it. The Celtics squander another golden opportunity in these playoffs, lose 119 to 115, game one to the Philadelphia 76ers with no Joel Embiid. First quarter, the Celtics shot 85% from the field. They shot 67% from the three-point line. But yet, the thing that was concerning was that they were only up 7 points. The 76ers also shot 50% in that quarter and shot 42% from the three-point line. The Celtics, like Tatum and Brown, Smart, were just penetrating and getting everything they wanted in the paint. It was a mirror image of the Atlanta series. It was the Celtics were driving, cutting, giving, and going. And whenever they decided, okay, this play we're attacking, there was nobody in the paint. Of course, now there's no Embiid, so there's no protection at the rim. They took advantage of that fully in the first half. Just Tatum driving, Brown driving, Smart finding people on cuts. The Celtics were moving the ball fluidly, but the defense was just, it wasn't cutting it today, and it didn't cut it overall. Even though I thought the first quarter, Harden just hit a lot of tough shots. He had 16 points, and the majority of his shots were twos in that floater to mid-range area. Brown had 14 in the first quarter, and Brogdon came off the bench with 10 points. It was just a matter of, trying to get stops. Even though we shot a great 85% from the field, which is crazy to even think of, we didn't get enough stops to create enough separation. And Harden, of course, went nuclear, had his best playoff game of his career, but the Celtics were there the entire time. The Celtics led for a lot of this game, and they just have to pick up the intensity on the defensive side, especially when they're scoring the way that they were scoring in that first half. When you score like that, you have to get stops. And if you don't get stops and you're just trading shots the entire game, this is what happens, because the Celtics tend to not execute down the stretch, but we'll get to that. And then the second quarter, Doc made a lot of good changes in this game. First started with going zone at the start of the second quarter. The Celtics were just rattled, and this isn't the first time that they've struggled against a zone. The Miami Heat are notorious for just zoning up the Celtics at any time, and they just don't know what to do. It's quite puzzling because they start playing like children. When you have two guys in Tatum and Brown, all you have to do is put them in the middle of the zone. Once you find a way to get the ball in the middle of the zone to 227 plus point per game scores, it shouldn't be that hard. But instead, the Celtics, all five of them stand outside of the three-point line until someone decides to drive or cut. And it's just not a good way to continue your offense, especially in the zone. But that second quarter by Jason Tatum, 20 points. And this is why I talk about Tatum's shot profile so much on this channel, because he's just a different player when half of his shots aren't threes. In that second quarter, he had 20 points. It was 8 for 11 and 4 for 4 from three. Again, a point I was trying to make was that, everybody understands that Tatum can shoot. Everybody knows Tatum can hit tough threes. But this season, he shot 35% from three, which is the lowest of his career. And it's just, you have a guy that's 6'8", 6'9", who has gotten stronger over his career and shot 73% from the rim in the regular season and about 55% on twos. The numbers just suggest I would rather him shoot more twos than threes, and the eye test tells you that too. Because again, for the second straight series, especially with no Joel Embiid playing, when he gets by whoever is checking him, there's nothing at the rim. They're not athletic enough to challenge him, and they're not good enough to stay in front of him. So why would I want him to settle for step back threes when he can get an easy two? And also, a thing that's been true of Tatum his whole career, when he gets the easy ones early in the game, it helps his jump shot. It's just when the scorer sees the ball go into the rim easily and it gets their game going. That has been true with Tatum his entire career. So you kind of see when Tatum starts attacking, okay, his whole game is changing. He's passing the ball and cutting immediately. He had about 3 of those with Smart, but overall that was just a great second quarter for Tatum. But again, the defense, Tatum had 20 points, Jalen had 16 and a half, Brogdon had 14 and a half. They shot 72% in the first half, but yet they were only up 3 points. They let the 76ers go on a 13-4 run to end the second quarter, but the Celtics were just the inability to get timely stops when you're scoring as efficiently as you were. There's no reason you shoot 75% in a half and you're only up 3 points. They were just leaving D'Anthony Milton, a guy who shot 39% from three in the regular season. Guys were just helping off him. And he's taking practice shots, even though they're contesting, they're late. If he catches it clean, he's shooting the ball. He's a good 3-point shooter. You can't double team Harden and come off DeAnthony or Georges Niang or Tobias Harris. Those are good shooters. There's no reason for you to leave that shooter, especially when they're one pass away. It's different if Harden's at the top of the key. Your man is in the corner and there's two people in the corner. So your teammate can kind of guard two people until you get back. No, Harden was at the top of the key. DeAnthony is on the wing right next to Harden, and they go help or go double team off him like Harden is not going to see him wide open right next to him. They did the same thing in the Atlanta series, just giving guys wide open threes, just practice shots. I don't understand the help defense philosophy the Celtics have right now. It's just not working. The pick and roll coverage, you're dropping far on Harden and Trae Young. Somebody has to be up in them and to pressure them. The 76ers were not pressured this whole game. They're dribbling freely, and the Celtics are backing up instead of being the aggressors on the defensive end. They shot practice shots. Tyrese and Harden got whatever they wanted on pick and rolls. They come off the screen, and all they see is wide open space, and they're looking dead at Al Horford. Al Horford's just standing there 10 feet away, and it's just nothing that you can do at that point. Harden is going to hit those shots. Tyrese will floater you to death, drive by you to death, and he's gonna make those plays. Those two made plays, especially in the second half, which we'll get to right now. Tatum kept up his physical play on the offensive side of the ball, scoring 13 points in the second half. He was 3 for 10, but he shot 8 free throws, which helped him in the point department. But Jaylen Brown that third quarter, he had about 2 or 3 straight plays where he's just driving in transition blindly. He's attacking blindly, and he had about 2 or 3 straight turnovers, and then we proceed to not get him any shots after that point. He did have some opportunities to shoot. He just got caught in a lot of bad positions. He's just dribbling right into help. He's attacking in transition when he doesn't have any numbers. Then he gets stuck, tries to throw it out. It's just his second half, he scored 7 points on 3 shots, but he also had a lot of turnovers, and he usually does a great job of letting the game come to him. But this game, he was just forcing a lot of stuff, especially in the second half. And again, the defense is just not aggressive enough. They don't run anybody off the 3-point line. They don't have the aggression that we've seen from them last year on defense. Now, again, that's a coaching change, that's a philosophy change, that's an ideology change, but they have to show that they can defend, because they did not do that in the Atlanta series. It was about 1 or 2 games where they were great, but for the rest of that series, Atlanta got whatever they wanted. Trae Young destroyed us off pick and rolls. For the first 3 games, DeJounte destroyed us off pick and rolls. DeAndre Hunter, Sadiq Bey, Bogdanovich got practice shots, and those are good shooters. I understand guys like Jalen Johnson, John Collins, even though he killed you in Game 5, those are the guys that you want to give open shots to, not the other 3 guys I just named. And in the second half, the Celtics ball movement was just not as good as it was supposed to be. The first half, they had 17 assists. They did have 8 turnovers, but 17 assists to 8 turnovers is much better than 9 assists and 9 turnovers, which they had in the second half. Guys stopped cutting. They stopped moving with a sense of urgency on the offensive side of the ball. No more quick cuts, no more backdoor cuts. They end up shooting 44% in the second half. They only hit 2 threes in the second half, shot 2 for 12, which is 19%. Again, Brown only had 7 points on 3 shots, but Tyrese Maxey and James Harden had 24 in the second half on 8 for 16. Tyrese Maxey had 19 points. And again, that run to end the quarter. The second quarter, they went on a 13-4 run to close the gap to 3 points. To end the game, the last 3:16 in the fourth quarter, they went on a 12-4 run. So very similar runs for the 76ers. They just grinded it out and were able to stay close. When the Celtics did not put them away, they made those runs. And those 2 runs ultimately won them the game. And that's what it is. Like, yes, Harden and Tyrese carried them, but if the Celtics closed the second quarter and closed that run to 12-8, and in the fourth quarter, they close that run to 12-8, they win this game. They just have to be better at attention to detail on the defensive side and have to value possessions and know which possessions are important. And they can't shoot some bullshit. They can't stand around and dribble at the top of the key until the shot clock reaches 6 seconds. And now everyone is frantic and shit. The turnover from Brogdon at the end, I felt like the shot clock had expired, but one, how do you not know what the shot clock is? Was any of his teammates telling him to shoot it? Like imploring him and telling him that, you know, you have to shoot. I don't know if anybody did that, and if they did, Brogdon made a mistake that he usually doesn't make. He's usually very aware. He's a smart guy. He had 20 points in his game, had a great game, but just had a very, very costly turnover. Smart also had one. The last real possession that the Celtics had, he drove it, dished it to Tatum. I don't know what happened, but they weren't on the same page, and it cost us at the end. Paul Reed, I want to give props to Paul Reed. 4 clutch free throws. They didn't even touch the rim. He was ready. I didn't think he was going to be ready. I thought he was going to miss at least one on either of the trips, but good job, Paul Reed. And it's just another series I think we have to change our coverage in the pick and roll. There were points in this game where Smart was denying Harden the ball, and he didn't touch it for the entire possession. Of course, they didn't score. We need to do our work early, and again, that comes from the aggression. You have to be aggressive with these players. This is the playoffs. You can't let these great players have practice shots, have practice drills like you're a cone. They have to feel you, but you have to do it in a way that you're not fouling. And the best way to do that is when Harden doesn't have the ball in his hands. When Harden doesn't have it, you shouldn't be helping off Harden for somebody else. You should be denying him the ball and making it harder for him to get the ball, which takes time off the shot clock and takes energy. But with that being said, it takes energy off Harden, of course, but it also takes energy off you. So you have to be willing to put in that work. And this game, they were just letting themselves get screened. Paul Reed sets a weak ass screen. Jalen just allows the switch. You know, Smart was trying to fight, but it was again sometimes where the screen was not a good screen, and Smart just lets Al switch on him. And again, Al Horford gets a switch on Harden. Al was just a step slow. You know, he's not the guy that he was last year, of course. I personally felt that Rob was great or good enough to close in the time that he was out there. Joe Mazzulla just doesn't trust him yet, and I don't know if yet is a good word because we're in the second round of the playoffs. When will he trust him? But Joe has to get a hold of knowing who's hot and who to close with. And Rob was the obvious call at center. Or go double big. Rob should have 100% closed this game because he was just better than Al. And I feel like his contest on threes in the drop coverage is far better than anybody on our team that can drop, because Rob's so athletic and his arms are so long that a drop coverage isn't really a drop coverage because he's quick enough to get up and contest and or block a three. That's it, guys. The Celtics squandered an opportunity. Game 2 is a must win. You cannot go down 0-2 going into Philly and possibly having Embiid back for those games. Again, if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, subscribe, share it to everyone that you can. Comment down below anything you want. I love to talk to people about the game. Just don't be trolling me and shit. But it's Nick. Peace.